Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create Azure SQL instance in Microsoft Azure's portal and then connect that instance to SQL Server Management Studio, right? So first thing we will do is on desktop make sure that you have SQL Server Management Studio. So I will open it in the background while we are working on creating an instance. So let's wait for it to load. Meanwhile, you can go to services, then click on Azure SQL. Right now, this should open the dashboard where you can see I have created one SQL server along with one SQL database with service tier of 5 DTOs. Right now, if I click on create, it will show you the option for creating the Azure SQL instance. So we have option from single instance database and elastic pool and database server. Another option is using managed instance with Azure Arc or with single instance. There is also option for creating SQL virtual machine. Clicking on it would show you when to use it. Most likely whenever you want to configure your own OS along with SQL Server license, you will be making use of this. Right now the thing is you can go with SQL database here that we want to use. Single database good for small load, right? So I'll be using single database. If your work requires the performance and some of the cost optimization, you will choose elastic pool in the addition of existing service. You can also use database server so that you can get the best of both single database as well as elastic pool. Right now in my case I just want the single database, so I will go with that route. You pick any route you want and then apply your changes. Now here choose the subscription, then resource group, then you choose your database name, then server name. Right, you can choose any database name of your choice, server name, then you choose SQL Elastic Pool, then you have compute and storage, you can configure that. Right now you can go and choose your basic DTO based workload and then you can apply that, which should come here for selecting your setup. Right now the next is choosing backup storage redundancy. Now here you will choose locally redundant backup storage. Now the next thing we are going to do is choose networking option. Here I can choose allow the option to connect to Azure services. I can also add my existing IP. You can add private endpoints if you want and choose the connection policy. Right, once you go through that, you can pick the security options, choose to enable or disable Microsoft Defender. You can choose the ledger and choose the identity option here as well. Now the next thing, you can go with additional settings where you can either back up your data source or you can choose adventure works like database. I have already selected that. Pick the default collation. Also we have maintenance window selected for us by default. Then go for tags. Right, and then here you can sort your resource for SQL database using tag and its respective value. Then finally review and create. All the details that we have filled so far, you can review them and then hit create. So I hit the create and created one instance where you can see we have our one SQL server and its respective database. Right now I want to connect this particular SQL database to SQL Server Management Studio. So I will just select that and here you can see once I have selected all of this, I can pick things like my server name, my username and password to connect to. Right, here you also see if I used any compute utilization, it will immediately show me how much I have used space and Overall, you can see 1 hour, 24 hour, and 7 days in total. All of this will count against your usage of these resources. Right now, we will move to next part, which is our SQL Server Management Studio. Right now, here, as you can see, whenever you open SQL Server Management Studio, you will be presented with this sort of login. You have to keep the server type to database engine. Then in server name, we will be changing something. We'll be changing that with our Azure SQL server name. Then we will paste that here. Then comes SQL authentication, which has login and password. Now here I will be pasting the password, and there is login name, which is my name, and then I can use it to remember the password, or I can simply go for create or connect. Right, so here it says connect, so I will connect. Right, so once connected, it will show you the database under this connection. Right, you can also connect to such database on the top of your any other database connection which is local. Right, you can connect with multiple such instances from connect database engine options. So you click on that. Here you will add another server's name, then use SQL or Azure Active Directory password, and then use those to connect. So that is one more possibility. Now the thing is, we are already connected to the database, and now as you can see, I have this database listed. So I'm going to expand on that and then choose the tables, and I will see all the tables imported through AdventureWorks database. Right, so here I'll be running few queries to show you that it is something that we are actually connected with on Azure. Right, so let's pick a table which is SLT address. So I will right click on it, and then I will choose select top 1000 rows. Now if I do make that query, it will kind of give me an option to run that query against this particular database. Now let's see, I want to see the result. Here you can see it is executed. Now I will remove some of the columns that I don't want to see. Right, now here instead of 1000 I can limit that to 100. Right, because it will cost a lot for running all those high queries and for nothing. So I will reduce this to 100, and let's see, currently this is sales LT address. I can change that to customer and also run similar queries. Right, so if I execute this one, I will get 100 results now. Right, notice that the fields that I don't want are not visible anymore because our query is now edited. Right, so like this we are connected to existing database like AdventureWorks within that database that we just created. However, in real life scenario, we'll be facing a different challenge that you will be uploading or migrating your own database into this cloud Azure portal. Right, and then you would be able to access that from SSMS or any other data admin tool like Azure Data Studio, dbeaver, Table Plus, Navigat, SQL. You pick the option. Right, and then the method to access them will vary. However, the queries and how you manipulate the data will remain the same. Right, in case of Azure SQL, I recommend sticking with SSMS and Azure Data Studio because all the tools that are specifically developed to handle Azure are within SSMS and Azure Data Studio. So this would be much better option for you to stick with SSMS in that case. Also, you will notice that you can connect with multiple your databases and you can easily access them from Object Explorer. So in terms of handling those databases, you would find SSMS a much better option. So I would recommend going that route, right? So you should also take a look at one of the features through database engine connection, right? For example, apart from using Azure SQL, you can also connect to Azure Storage and SSIS integration too. So pretty much most of the Azure friendly tools are available for SSMS and Azure Data Studio. So hopefully you find this helpful.